Good day, tamers. Welcome back to another interview type styly thing with me, Agitoswiftly, and I'd like to introduce you to
Jowgenetsu.
the UK's number one champion of the regionals, because we don't have the Ultimate Cups currently in person in the UK. But nonetheless, a regional title is still pretty big stuff.
Yeah, very happy with how the weekend went for me. It was a good event. Great to be playing with people in a real life setting again. You can't beat it. Webcams are all fine and dandy, but you can't beat being sat opposite an opponent and playing the game there.
There's nothing like staring down to someone's eyes, letting them know that you're the bigger person, and they're just there going like, "I just want to play some card games, man."
No, I mean, if you saw me playing over the weekend, I was very, very reserved. I tend to play very quietly.
I didn't see a table flip, so
No, if it's high stakes, there's not much table talk from me. I'm not very animated. I just very, very quietly lay my cards on the table as we go.
So this will be a bit of a different interview because Jow did a 2-hour interview with me the other night, and then it did the usual Agitoswiftly thing of not recording. But yesterday I did the audio recording for your 5th round match, and my god, that is a lot of thinking.
Yep, there's
it's a 42-minute match, and there's a lot of, I wouldn't necessarily say dead silence, but there's a lot of card shuffling, putting a card on the table, not quite playing it back in the hand. It's been the same with Lord Felix as well, so both of you were very reserved in what you wanted to do in the last couple of turns.
Yeah, it was very tense, that game. It's a hard matchup, Gaiamon versus Metal Greymon.
It's probably one of the worst ones. They have the upper hand of, let me just crash into you and not die.
Yeah, the blocker doesn't really scare them too much. Like, it's nice if you get it online early, but they're just going to come and swing, and you kind of have to rely on them being greedy and getting punished twice. Like, sometimes that's all you can do. So it's a very tense matchup. It feels like on a knife edge at the start, and then depending on what's drawn, you might feel a little bit more confident. If they don't see their Garuru X, you're definitely confident. But it's a tough one, so you have to be very, very careful.
So tell us about your tournament run then, from 1 to, I suppose, round, what was in the end, like 9, 10?
Yeah, so we played 6 rounds of Swiss with a cut to the top 16.
Which was another 4 rounds, wasn't it?
Yeah, so we played 10 rounds over the course of the weekend. It was I was quite thankful for just a short day with 6 rounds and a lunch break. Very, very thankful for the lunch break.
OP seems to be very nice about giving people lunch breaks, so I gotta hand it to them. I know a lot of competitions will go like, you got 10-15 minutes to go get yourself a drink, and it's a 12-hour day sometimes. That's not enough.
Yeah, exactly, and it was really important to just fuel up, stay hydrated for the rest of the rounds there, especially since we played the top 16 after round 6. So yeah, it was a good day, broken up quite well. I played Gaiamon. My deck list has been put up now, I think. I
think Bandai actually did it really early for a change, because Bandai has a tendency to go, Europe? That's a place in the world? No, we don't know what Europe is. But no, I think it was Tuesday they actually put all the top 8 ones up. I did put up the statistics for what was played over the events. The 168 players. 21 of them were Black War Greymon players. 30 of them being Were Garuru. And then only 15 being Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha took a slide towards the end of the BT9 meta there.
It's definitely taken a knee. Besides being like, I think I've seen some American ones where it was like a 35% like representation, and to us it was like 10%.
Yeah, I think the deck just feels really bad if you don't see your pieces. It's unlike other builds where you can rely on things a little more. Like, there's a little bit more consistency. even with the full consistent version of Alphamon, I've seen so many people just be like, "Oh, I don't have it." You know, it takes.
I think the issue with them is it's a very greedy deck where a lot of people were building like 8 rookies and they were like, "I can't find a rookie." Well, you don't say. You've got 8 rookies in a deck.
It's very brave of that Mulligans to do that.
So I run like 12, and I never really have an issue finding a rookie. It's not always the best rookie, but it's always like, oh, I put the on play trash 1, draw 2 on the stack, but at least it's a rookie on the stack for the first turn.
Yeah, it's so important to get that rookie turn 1. I was playing 12. I've seen some lists play 13 rookies, but 12 was absolutely fine for me. I didn't get punished too often.
I've always said with deck building, 12 is like the minimum you want because it's enough consistency that you'll find them, but it's not too many that all you're going to find is rookies.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you can see in my list, there's a few flex spots. The key things that I had over testing that made a difference were the 1 of Aguni and the 1 of BT1 War Greymon. Aguni for game, War Greymon for shutting off those options for the security control matchup, and even just turning off memory boosts on the swing. Memory boost is a really horrible card to swing into in security because they can just, if your opponent's set up just a little bit, they've suddenly got the ability to blow you out from out of nowhere. So being able to turn off those options as well as any removal, you know, is always quite nice. And it was working well in testing. On the day, those cards really didn't do much.
In testing, they were good.
Yeah, in testing they were good. But the key changes that I made in the run-up, in the fortnight before the event, I tested 4 Cool Boy, when going up from 3 to 4, and that has always been great, and I kept that in. I cut a Mem Boost and another Mem Boost the Wednesday of before the event to play 2 Congo. I had been playing with like the max consistent version of the build, so 4 Cool Boys, 4 Memory Boost, and I was always getting my pieces, but I wasn't outing anything. And Tarantio Joe from the UK server, he was just like, you should probably be playing this card. And yeah, I think I tried it before, but the matchups I was testing it against, it wasn't relevant. I think I was mainly testing against Grandis at that point. And
it just has like no issue because Brandish, you go into your Mega, burst everything off and then go crazy.
Yeah, and it doesn't do much against Alphamon, apart from stop you dying to the hybrid. So I kind of like put it in, it didn't do much, and I took it out again. And yeah, I was convinced to put it back in for the event, and it was the right choice because it was a lifesaver in several games and incredibly important in the top 16 matchups, and certainly in the final. So my testing was, it went from maximum consistency, no outs, to, you know, some consistency and some outs, and those outs really did make the difference. And it's always the deck building question for me when I build a deck. You know, am I playing for consistency or am I playing to counter? And a lot of times you just want to have that consistency and always be there, but once the meta's been solved a bit, like towards the end of that meta, you can find your spaces a lot easier. So yeah, making those cuts and then those additions in just made sense. And they Congo lifted me on its mighty shoulders and carried me to the top 16 and then through the top 16 to the final table. So I really can't complain. So big shout out.
Who might not see any play whatsoever, but its option card is fantastic.
Yeah, big shout out to Joe for just switching me onto that card and just being like, no, like think of where it does apply. I know because I hadn't used it in the games where I tested against Metal X or Armor Rush or anything. He was like, no, just think about his utility in those games. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's go. Let's do that. So that's kind of where I was at. The only other interesting tech was I was playing one Blitz Omni because you want it all the time, and I was playing one Omnimon X Antibody because one of my main testing partners was on Grandis, and he's a Green Loyalist. Jai, he's a good guy, and Grandis just ruins the Gaia matchup horrendously. So I just had that in just to make sure I didn't die to one of the 6 people playing Grandis on the weekend.
Yeah, it was a very weird. I thought Grandis might have a little bit more of a showing, but no, it was quite minimum.
Yeah, it was very, very. I think people just, if it high rolls you, great. If it doesn't, oh no. So yeah, that was where my testing led me up until the event. I think I played some test games on Friday, and then away we went for the main event.
Well, you went for a curry, didn't you, with the boys, and ate have a good time before the event?
Yeah, not a curry this time. I usually love a pre-tournament curry, but there was no. I did look. There was no curry houses. Like we were in Tottenham. It was not great for curry houses. So
I thought with a football team not too far away, there'd be a good curry house somewhere.
We got a cheeky pizza. That was fine.
Well, I suppose it'll have to do, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But just to go back to obviously the choice of sorry.
Oh, did you come to London? Did you play in the event?
No, I'm off work currently, but I should have been at work the Sunday. So even if I did do well, I wouldn't be able to play on the Sunday. So it's not great, and I don't really like staying away from home either. So if I'd have gone to London, I'd have had to get like a stupidly early train. Got into London, played the event, tried to get home on the night as well. So it's just been a very long day to the point where I may not have made it home.
Yeah, that's a long day.
If it's in Birmingham, I'll generally play there. If it's anywhere other than Birmingham or Peterborough, I suppose, or like Boston, maybe, that's probably not going to happen.
That's fair. I mean, it was a 3-hour or so coach ride for me from Bristol, which wasn't fun. But I went up on the Thursday, so I got to see a show.
Not too bad for me. For me, it's like from where I live to Peterborough, which is like half an hour, 40 minutes. And then it's 47 minutes on the train, so it's not terrible.
Yeah. But yeah, so I was all ready and willing to go, and then I had a really good start to my day. It's been a while as a Red Loyalist. It's been a while since I had this good a start to the day. Usually, I'm like, I might be playing. What have I been playing recently? Gallantmon recently. I really enjoyed him in the EXO2, and then BT9 just killed the deck dead with its shifting.
It was a very awkward thing for Gallantmon. He got good support, but everything else was better.
Well, and just the meta shifted from building boards to just staying and raising and coming out and hitting really hard. I'll switch back to Gallant because he is my boy. I'll play him in EX3, I think. But
we got the good upgrade now. We've got that nice purple brown one that gives us the ability to throw down a tamer, which was the issue in the first place.
Even playing something like Red Hybrid, I'm not a good enough player to see all of the pieces all of the time piloting that deck. So in BT, 8, it was just like
I love the hybrid, but whenever I played it, the first match of the day was always a blue hybrid, and I always hit like 2 or 3 Tommies in security. It was awful.
Oh, always that first check. Tommy, brilliant. Okay, cool.
It's like, I've got like 6 checks. All right, swing. I've hit a Tommy. All right, I've still got 2 checks. Hit a second Tommy. I've got okay. All right. Oh, and I'm now stunned. Awesome.
Yeah, so I just kind of have been used to win the first round, lose the second, win the third round, lose the fourth, and just been that sort of, not a complete scrub, but going 3-3 is not good enough for me. I want to have that 4-2 at the very least, and sometimes it's very difficult to get that as a Red Loyalist in a meta where Red is in a tricky situation. Luckily, Gaiamon is really good, and
who would have thought Blitz on any card is fantastic? Who would have thought that?
Yep. I mean, Blitz, D-Digivolve, Restand, Blocker, all the damage in the world. What more could you possibly want? It's the best response, one of the best responses in the game. And suddenly we get into the BT9 meta where it's been solved to the point where I would say Gaiamon became tier 1, if not the best deck in the format. I know that's...
I'd say it's top 3, yeah. It's one of those weird issues where there is a
Very
triangle where, one deck should beat the other, and that would beat the next one.
It might be very difficult to put it over Metal Garurumon X, but I don't know, like, it's pretty solid.
For me personally, it's like Alpha should beat Guru should beat Gao, and then Gao should beat Alpha. And that's how I feel like it is, because the Digivolve really screws them over a bit more than just the Guru player. But the Guru player, they ignore all the battle damage, and they can kind of, if they're lucky enough to, to hand, if they're lucky.
But then,
the gods.
But sometimes you'll see that happen in, that circle will be reversed as well. And depending on how games go, it's very it can be very easy for Alphamon to steal games from Gaiamon, and Gaiamon to steal games from Metal Garurumon X. So
it happened to you.
It did. It did.
Happened to you 3 games out of your 9 wins. You actually won against Metal Garurumon.
Yeah. So my first, I won the first 3 rounds before lunch. Round 1 was it was a good start to the day, as I said. Round 1 versus Metal Garurumon X, piloted by Hadders 442. I can't remember much of this one, but I know he was playing at least one copy of Metal Storm, which took me by surprise. But I had saves for the removal, and he couldn't find his saves to stop getting run over. And if your Garurumons die, that's it. If you don't have the double save in the stack there, the game gets flipped on the spot. Round 2 was the Mirror, played by Thomas Kekkonen. I think at this point I tested the Mirror match once. As the local Red Loyalist, no one else in Bristol is on it. And because I do most of my testing locally on the UK and NI Discord, there's not very many people on it there either. So I didn't really get to test this matchup much at all. Basic thinking was just have the best crack back, like take the first hit them back really hard. But I learned during the match that it also comes down to how big you can make your stack, and if they don't have the Metal Garurumon X to buff up their level 6, they can't swing over you.
Yeah, Metal Garurumon X is a card, 0 cost on top of itself, gain the 3000 DP, get the extra security attack, and if you've got the memory, go into your level 6. It's just a house of a card.
Yeah, and if you don't find that card early enough, sometimes you just lose the game. So yeah, it's that was a fun game. I learned a lot on the spot in the game just playing that Mirror, and Thomas was very fun to play against. He was a great guy, lovely to play against international players again in person. It was quite awesome to see so many travel over. But it was very tense. It's a very tense match, and I got there in the end to win, but not without making a mistake and giving Cool Boy even more text. Not that card needs it anymore, but I definitely evolved. I X-Digivolved, triggered Cool Boy, drew a card, gained a memory, and then revealed 3 looking for an X antibody, and that's not what that card does. So
no, not quite.
Thomas was like, "What's happening?" And I don't know. I knew I was going to play a search that turn. I just got on a bit muddled. Judge was called, and I was given a warning, but Thomas was a gent.
Don't do it again.
We carried on. Yeah, it was good times. And then round 3 was against Saf, who eventually top-8'd, I believe, playing Armor Rush.
Saf did. They went against Royce Bowl. I forget what their current score is. They won on round 7 and then lost in round 8 against Lord Halifax.
Yeah. So top 8.
Standings. They finished at the top. They go number 7. Very well.
So very, very well. And this game is pretty good so long as you see the Greymon blocker. If you see that early and you get your D-Digivolves off to pop those pesky Armor Digimon and the Magnamons and D-Digivolve those, and then Congo, of course, just slows their roll. You just slow them down, counter their bigger plays, and then you can just get there. And game 1 and game 3, that's exactly what I did. Game 2, I didn't see a block of Greymon. So I think that turn lasted about 3 turns. That game lasted about 3 turns. But game
when they get a fire rockets off and they die just at the right time when they can jump into another one, if they've got an armor texture in hand or they've got Davis Ken in the field, it's like, oh, I'm going to swing for another 2 then. It's like, yeah, I guess you will.
Yeah, they can come at you hard and fast. So seeing that Greymon blocker, very, very important. Then I had lunch and I think I had KFC. Can't go wrong with the
nice protein, bit of fat.
Yeah,
I did see that you brought in a sponsor to the match. Was that a Pepsi Zero?
Coke Zero.
Coke Zero, there you go.
Yeah. Speaking of, swig of Coke Zero for the working man.
There we go.
And then
sugar up.
yeah, got to be done. Round 4, I played Zadoy's and he was piloting D Reaper. And I was pretty happy to see D Reaper. You know, that's on favour. That's a pretty good matchup for me. But game 1,
low costing things, hard to swing.
Yeah. Game 1 though, he opened with a Searcher, and I did something, and then he raised up the mother, put the Searcher under, played a Searcher, played the guy that puts the Searcher under on play, and then made an X antibody. And that's a pretty good start. It puts the clock up really, really fast.
That's it. Turn 2, 3 sources. No, turn 2. Yeah, 3 sources. That's pretty scary.
Pretty scary. And then turn 3, he dropped the blocker. Turn 4, he dropped the blocker. And so I was like, I can't swing over 3 times. That game did not go well for me.
This is why the red piercer is better than the black-red metal grey one. There you go.
Luckily,
matchup.
Game 2 went my way. There was no crazy start from the D Reaper player, and I was able to get that stack and start swinging over things, and that's all she wrote. And then game 3, he started off with the double Searcher under X antibody start again, but he didn't see the double blocker. So again, I think I was very hesitant though, and I just made sure to play it safely, and I think I killed all 4 mothers before winning that game.
You know, you got to show who's the boss, right? It's just like, stay down.
Yeah, when I have a guy that's capable of swinging over their mother and any Death X's that are played, you're not really scared. Unless they get that explosive start with the double blocker. That was enough. And then round 5, yeah, as you said, that was streamed, and you can see Lord of Halifax crush me. It was pretty good.
You could say that all you want. It was not a crushing defeat. You can see that both of you had struggles. The second game, I think, was like 20 minutes long. It was a good back and forwards. It wasn't as easy as I think you make it sound out to be. And I think
it's a slog.
In all fairness, I don't even know if you were going to lose the last game, to be honest, because you gave up with 1 security on his side. But I think you were just worried about the fact that you knew it was going to happen on the crackback.
Yeah, I remember it being very tense, and then you got to make sure you don't slip up there. And I think I lost the game making a mistake where I calculated that if I do some damage with Gaiamon and then evolve into Omnimon X antibody, I had 3 or 4 attack stops.
You had 3, but I think what you should have done, instead of swinging for damage, you should have left yourself up so you could have blocked one attack.
I couldn't block because I didn't have a red Digimon in play. I don't believe.
Yes, you're right. Yeah, you were right. Actually, with the Omnimon.
But I could have attacked into his body, got the saves off it, which meant he would have had 1 less attack. But the problem I had was, even if he doesn't kill me on the next turn, because I haven't done the damage and he was still at 4 or 5, I can't close out the game the following turn. So my decision was extend the game or force him to have 4 attacks or whatever he needed to win the next turn. If he doesn't, I get it on the following turn. that was a risky gamble. It did not pay off.
Yes, I think he did all his attacks and couldn't kill you. But then I think you were just like, there's nothing I can do to win in the next turn. And I just went like, Sonic, give us your hand. Congratulations.
Yep.
By the time this goes out, round 5 should have been edited up on the channel. So if any of you want to watch like a 35-minute, really good, like, grind between people actually thinking about how to play the game, watch that. It's really good. Yeah,
there was a lot of decision points there. And my neurodivergent ass is terrible because I do get analysis paralysis, and I will just end up in the tank when I don't need to be, because I'll be like, oh, this decision, or this decision and this decision, and my brain will just shut down for a bit, and I won't actually process like what I'm supposed to be deciding on.
I had the exact same thing happen to me the other day. I was playing with the wife, and she was playing, I think, Guru, and I was playing BLZ, and I had 2 memory. I was at Skull Satyr in the stack, Soulmon in the stack. I had a BLZ X2 in my hand, and I had a missed memory boost. And I was thinking to myself, I need to get to 3 memories somehow, so I don't pass the turn, so I can get rid of the field and carry on the game. Not thinking at any point here that when I spend 3 to Digivolve into BLZ, I'll gain 2 memory back for trashing.
Yeah, easy to do, isn't it?
And my brain was just like, I'm going to have to play missed memory boost for 3, which takes them to 1. I'll get a memory back for trashing for the Soulmon, so I'll get to 0. And just staring in the face as my beautiful alt-art BLZmon going, play me, you idiot!
Yeah. So if you watch any of my stream games, be it the round 5, the top 8 mirror, or the final, I don't think I was too bad in the final, because I had my game plan going in, and I was able to... Well, I'll explain how that game went down when I get there. But yeah, if you see me and you can see my hand and there's an obvious play that I'm not automatically making, it's because my brain is going, you need to process either everything or nothing at all, so just give me like 10 seconds to restart. But fortunately, it wasn't too bad this weekend.
There was a lot of backseat gaming going on that stream. There's like 6 or 7 of us going like, Zhao, just play, Zhao, you just got to play that one card, you got to get, Zhao, just do it now. And everyone's just like, why is he not doing it? And he's just like, going for your hand, going like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, well, a lot of it, certainly in the mirror, was, this is the best play, unless, or I should do this, but what if? And so I do take my time, but I am conscious of the fact that I have, I think it's 2 minutes per turn, but even that seems like quite a lot. But that can disappear very quickly sometimes. But
it does. There's one of the games I did. I think it might have been round 3, and that was like a 45-minute. No, it was like a 43-minute match. But when I take out all like the waiting around, it was like a 6-7. It was like a 12-minute video. So you can see there's like 30 minutes of literally just like people thinking between their turns.
Yeah, it's tough. It's hard. There's a lot of nerves going on. You've got to, you don't want to make a game losing misplay. Much like many players, I will be upset if I lose a game, but I will be furious at myself if I misplay and cost me a game. And I will beat myself up for that for a while. And that's not healthy. And you should always, I try to always, made that misplay, I lost that game. I will then take some time to just process those feelings and emotions so that I don't end up going into the next game tilted. You don't want to be playing games on the tilt. You will just... No, you'll just cascade into back-to-back losers because you're just not in the right headspace. So if you get that bad beat or you make that game-losing misplay, just process those feelings. Do what you got to do, and then let it go, and learn from any mistakes, and then move on. You've got to really separate your headspace from previous games when you're going into a new one. I would say that's one of the most important things that a player can do.
That's it. Sometimes it's just take yourself out of the situation. If you've got time between a round, go outside, get some fresh air, calm down. Don't think about what you did last time. It's in the past now. Just keep moving forwards. I was saying to Catherine, it's so easy to look at a match you just had and go like, oh, I had the perfect hand. I could have done something about it. For instance, my last match at Birmingham, I could have digivolved into Imperialmon, dropped 2 sources, digivolved into a Paildra, swung with Paildra once, hit the card that was going to kill me anyway, which was a Wyvern's Breath. My opponent then had to choose which one to kill, and then the other one would swing for game. Because my dumbass was like, I've got 2 minutes left on the clock and I need to end this game now, I didn't do that. I swung with the original Paildramon and died.
Yeah. Again, under pressure, right? You make those mistakes under pressure, and if you're not used to playing card games at a high level, at big events and competitive events, those are like the learning walls you have to smash through, and you have to like run into those walls, make those mistakes, so you can grow as a player and learn from them, and then hopefully don't do anything stupid when you next come into a high pressure situation.
That's literally sometimes it's a case of
if you make all of your misplays and game losing mistakes in testing, you can still be upset about it, but it doesn't. But
at least that's a practice. You've done your mistake there. You know what the mistake was. Learn from it. Whereas if it's your first time in a tournament, you can see a lot of people. They'll lose 1 or 2 games. They'll instantly drop from a tournament because they're not worth their time, because they're not done very well. Sometimes it's because they've had no one to practice with. They've not really practiced their deck. They've literally picked it up, took it into a tournament, going like, "How hard could it be?" Depending on how much you've played, that deck can be quite difficult. Fenton, for instance, I know we was bringing him up as much as possible. He's got so many hours on that Live Loop deck that he probably is the best person to play that deck, because he has thousands of hours on that deck.
Yeah, he puts the grind in. He gets those reps, and I very much I'm also the kind of player that will learn from reps. I will put a lot of hours into the game, into testing, just to make sure, because I'm also it's that thing of, if I don't do something for a while, my brain will just go, you don't need that information, you don't need to retain that anymore, it's gone. And then I have to learn it all over again. You just keep the ring rust off, as I like to say.
Yeah, you got to do it. Sometimes it's a case of like playing that deck 50 times. By the 45th time or something like that, you go like, oh, I finally figured out how to break this deck and how to make it actually good. Yeah,
and I'll also do the same thing against, like, if I haven't played against a deck for a while, I'll just suddenly forget what cards do.
Yeah, what does that do again? Oh, I'm dead. Okay.
That's why I shouldn't have attacked, or that card exists. That was definitely and then luckily that's what the testing's for. To
was that a Gaia Force? God damn.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and so you just kind of like make those mistakes where there's no consequence apart from bad feels, and then you just learn from them, right? Going into round 6 against Alphamon, piloted by Ectosum. I've done a lot of testing against Alphamon, and my testing gave me the information that I have to make sure I'm bigger than their stack, so I have to do the old Metal Grey X into whatever, and then do the thing and kill their dude. And I have to make sure I win any Digivolve tennis that goes on.
Yeah, that can be a bit awkward because it's a very memory-gaining deck, and unfortunately, Red does have the best card to stop that.
Yeah, if they present a stack and then you like, oh, if I could get rid of that Mega by evolving in battle area to Metal Greymon, and then they have like the second Alphamon to de-digivolve your Metal Greymon, you probably lose the game, because like you then can't get back up fast enough, unless you're playing the awesome text that Joshua Oosters was playing, which I'm sure I know that card did a lot for him in the event. So yeah, luckily I think the key thing was, in one of those games there was an Orumon into Oryuken, leaving it at 18k, and I was able to raise Metal Greymon, go Metal Grey X, and then make the Gaiamon at like 19k, or even if it was and then you just de-digivolve, and it's never big enough, you kill their stack, and then they can't, unless they've got another one ready to go, they can't retaliate. And so that you kind of just, again, you're in control, you carry on that position and take it down to the end of the match. So yeah, I finished 5-1 in Swiss. I think I finished 5th in the rankings before the top cut.
Fortunately, I can't tell for Swiss, but I don't think I can. A quick look now. Do we get the one day? Day 1 Swiss bracket. Zhao was 5th. 5-1 with a 69% win rate.
Yeah.
Don't know how that works. With one loss, but okay.
Nice. Yeah,
nice.
And then of course they announced that we were playing the top 16.
Which I think a lot of people were like, excuse me?
It made sense. They wanted to let the 8 players who lost in the top 16 at least do the side event the next day, bump up the side event numbers. So I was okay with that. And it was still quite early. It wasn't too late.
I think it started at 6 or half 5. So yeah, it wasn't super late.
It wasn't super late. It wasn't like a 9 p.m. finish.
It's like, guys, we just had 17 rounds today, but do you want to do another one?
Yeah.
Like,
and I seem to remember in that game there was a lack of the double saves. I think, either missing the Gabu X or only having the Garuru X over a Gabumon. Again, you just run over the stack when that happens. Get the Black Hawk,
punish the greed.
Get the Black Hawk Greymons and just, yeah. And I think there was a greedy attack in one game where a one saved Were-Garurumon hit into an 8k whilst it was at 8k, saved itself, stood, and then swung into Omnimon X antibody and security. So
I think it was in game 3. He swung in with a Garuru with no saves underneath it, I think just to try and hit the stack, and instantly killed itself. And it was like, crap.
Yep. Okay, cool. So yeah, I don't remember feeling too worried once that had happened and I was able to take it down. But very, good job to Jackson. I think he said he'd only been playing the game a few weeks. So
God damn.
Top 16ing with Metal X there. Very good job by Jackson. I'm sure he'll be back with a vengeance to get his revenge next time.
I'm sure so. I mean, Metal X doesn't get bad in the next 2 or 3 sets, so yeah, if they want to stick with it, I'm sure they can grind that down a bit more.
Yeah, or jump over to Crossheart and just steal those wins, right?
Blue Flare go.
Yeah. Blue Flare looks interesting. That's cool.
Blue Flare was really good for a while.
So
Lego deck looks fine.
So with that, we get to day 2. I got to have a relatively early night. Got some good food.
Was it a curry?
It was not a curry, no. Got to do some last minute testing. I had been given the knowledge that, given the way the placings, the pairings had worked, that I'd be playing in the mirror match in the first round of the top 8. And given my lack of knowledge in it, I was like, let me just call on some friends and see if I've got the right game plan here. And yourself included, and you were able, a few people were able to just, this is what you need to do. It really is all about the big crackback and whether or not they can respond to it. So I was like, okay, cool. And if worse comes to worse and you don't go up the chain, you can try and go wide if they don't have the blocker. So I was like, okay, I've got a plan. Let's do it. So sat down opposite Josh in the top 8, both on Gaio. Got to have a good chat about that. Very happy that Gaiamon had been not only well represented, but also
it was the second most represented deck there, which I was surprised about. I thought it would have been like Guru and Alpha being really high, and then maybe Def X, which wasn't too far behind. D-Brigade did much better than I thought it did. I thought D-Brigade would be a bit more of a niche deck, but that was, I think, the 3rd highest deck there.
Yeah.
I was surprised by 21 players.
Interesting breakdown for sure. And yeah, Josh, lovely guy. I did a deck profile for him, which is up on his YouTube channel over at Joshua's Boosters. So go and give
a link in the description if you guys actually want to go see the profile itself.
Yep, go and give that a watch. Give him a like and a subscribe. It's a good guy. Looking forward to playing him again in the future.
But then there was round 9.
Well, yeah, and again, before we get there, the top 8 is on the stream. You can see there's
a lot of technical issues.
A lot of technical issues, but in game 1 is over pretty quickly. I kind of don't get punished. And whilst he's got some good responses, I was able to just get there. In game 2, he bricked, and it was a tough game for him. I think he opened with Blocker Greymon and then had to use one of his 4 Metal Greymons, which I was then able to clear, meaning he had to, when he used a boost, he had the choice of a Metal Greymon or a Metal Greymon X. He took the Metal Grey, knowing that he needed that to be able to swing over my stack to win the games. But it meant that when I made a Gaiamon stack, I was able to go Metal Grey X antibody for the buff into the Gaiamon, do some damage into an Omnimon X antibody, and that forced him to have the both Metal Greymon X and Gaiamon to counter it, and he hadn't been able to add a Metal Grey to hand during the game. I know he put one to the bottom, so I had to make a calculated risk and force him to have the response, because I didn't have Blitz Omni, I had the wrong Omni.
The X antibody.
And on his turn, the best he could have done was like play a hero, go to Gaio and make the trade, because he couldn't find the buff. But given the way the game was set up, if I immediately then hatch an egg and play a rookie before he can hatch an egg and play a rookie, I would win the game on the following turn. So he didn't play the hero. He played the Gaiamon, de-Digivov the Omnimon X, and then made the big blocker. And then the stream cuts out, but my turn is I rip the Blitz Omnimon off the top, swing over his guy, and then play Omnimon to win the game.
I think they had the BT5 Kuramon, didn't they? Which was the difference in DP.
They hatched that earlier in the game. That may have been on that stack, but the key thing was not having the plus 3k from the Metal Greymon.
There's no point crashing if you're not going to win, kind of thing. So it's
and looking at his list now, I can see he was only on 2 Metal Grey X because he was playing double Ultaurus mode,
which seems very strange to me as a tech choice.
I can see the reason.
X is just crazy.
Yeah, I can see the reasoning for it. Absolutely, there are a couple of 5k or less dudes you really want to pop, and having the ability to just evo for free and pop something is super nice.
Yeah, Gato, get out of here.
But yeah, it just meant that he just didn't have the DP to swing over there, and I took it down. But it was very well played. Really enjoyed that game.
And I'll do my best to try and piece it together so you guys get some kind of cohesive representation of how that match actually went.
Yeah, I could go into a lot more detail, but I don't want to ramble on too much, and there are a couple of things that I want to mention in the final that might take a while. So that's all good.
Which is, to be honest, one of the better matches I saw on stream to me, because it is a control deck versus a control deck in a different manner.
Yeah. Top 4 was against the undefeated King of Swiss, Metal Greymon X, piloted by Lord of Halifax.
Don't call it a comeback.
The only loss of my day one, and the first game does not start well. I open up like three ultimates, an Omni, and something else that's bad, and I don't do anything. That game's over in like 3 or 4 turns. That is very, very sad. But it's at that point that I'm like, right, it's time for the babyface comeback. And
got to turn that hat round right now and go for it.
That's right. So it was come back to win 2-1 or crash out of the event, and luckily for me and unluckily for my opponent, he suffered 2 bad bricks in a row where he couldn't make a stack that was safe. or was forced to hard play a champion, which I had the old Taurus mode to pop off, and that's all she wrote. Well, very, very well played to Lord of Halifax for an amazing first day. Shame that the game went that way, but I'm sure there'll be games in the future where he will again get his vengeance.
Funnily enough, I think they did message me on either Facebook or the channel and asked where my games were, which reply were, "They're coming, please calm down."
Everyone's eager to get those to watch it back, man. It's always good to.
So I think when you're a winner as well, you want to see like your shining glory in full, 2K, as YouTube is terrible for rendering. But it is nice to go back and go like, oh, that's what I played. Oh, I could have done that a bit better. Having visual representation is good.
Yeah. So with that, I make my first final table in Digimon since the inaugural official European online event. Round
of applause,
back.
Everyone. Round of applause, come on, guys.
Way back in set 1, before even set 1.5 had come out, I piloted Ganotmon to go undefeated in that event. So I was hoping that Gaia would get me all the way again. And then I heard that the other semi-finals was D-Reaper versus Security Control. Can you guess who I was hoping to win there?
Could it have been the one you didn't have to go against?
Yeah, it would have been a lot less tense to play against D-Reaper in the final. But no, Lichink took down the D-Reaper, and so final table was Gaiamon versus Security Control or Death X Control. Piloted by Lichink, very, very good player to take that deck all the way through. He did very, very well. And I knew going in that it was going to be a very long, very tense game, and that one slip-up would be enough to cost me. There are some decks where you can make a tiny mistake and it's okay, but against Security Control, if you do something dumb or something goes wrong, it can get out of control very quickly. And my main concern was if he was on Sakuyamon or not. If Sakuyamon,
now we know, just in the list, he was not.
Yeah, he was not on it. If Sakuyamon is in that list, it gets a bit harder for me, for sure, because I have to take down a Sakuyamon and also have protection. And the Congos and the buffs give you quite a lot of protection. You can get to 16k, so Wyverns doesn't kill you. You can use Congo to turn off Chaos Degrade, which is obviously the scariest card in the deck for me. So
always in security, every time.
Yeah, I knew my game plan was to make a big body that was unremovable, either through big DP or using Congos to stop the removal. Find the Black or Greymon to pop Tamers, that would be really nice, and then keep his security low enough so I can do the OTK. In testing against Security Control, if they immediately get to if they get a couple of Holy Waves off or a couple of Magnet Angemons off early and they get to 6 or 7, it can really be tricky because you have to chip away so you can set up a series of turns that will close the game out before it gets too out of control. So this is also up on stream, so you can go enjoy the show over at official.
I think this one also suffered with technical difficulties because for whatever reason, day 2 was just awful for the technical difficulties.
Yeah, there was a few, but go there. If you put a link to official organized play, or is it?
It's on all the other videos so far. So hopefully, if people have wanted to see the live pure stuff, it's up there.
Organized play events, I think, over on Twitch. So final. In game 1, I kind of just get everything. It takes me a while to set it up, but I have to play around Degrade early. He sets up a curry early on, so from turn 1, Degrade's online. So I have to wait for the Congos to get there. and yeah, that what I do it. I get the Congo off, stop the recover, and then I find like the ST Greymon and the Metal Grey X, Blackwall Greymon to pop tamers, swing over his Magna Angemon, play Congo to stop the degrade, and then I'm able to go into Gaiamon, choke at 1, do 4 checks at 19k, and his security is garbage. He has to have like double security minus to kill me, or a big security minus and then like a big dude. But his checks are like double Magna Kid, double Avenge Kid, Crimson Mode, and a Salamon. So I just chew through that. He has to pass because Congo shot off his plays, and then I can start building a second stack, and then Blitz Omni shows up, and I take it down. I have to ask myself if I want to push the advantage once I've got it, or play it safe.
Which is the big problem with security, is a case of, do I just try and rip as much as I can now, and then maybe deal with it next turn, or is it a case of, do I play it safe, wait 2 turns, and hope they can't just like get 5 security again?
The last turn situation is I'm on 1, so I can't swing. I can't play Congo and then swing, but I can swing and then play Congo. So I just have to avoid the Chaos Degrade. His last 2 checks were Mimi and Death X, so I can slap down Congo, and that's all she wrote for that one. Game 2, he chooses to play second, and I open a really tough hand. I think it's Gaiamon, Coolboy, Starter Deck Greymon, Greymon X, and Metal Grey X, and the Coolboy turn 1 doesn't find me a target, but flips 2 Promo Argomon to the bottom, and I just spend the rest of the game trying to find a rookie. I think
which, from going through your games, wasn't the first time that happened. I think like one of the games with Lord Halifax, you flipped a card and it was like Agumon, and Congo or something like that. It was like, oh god, that's like the worst thing you can see from a super bad when you put those Argus to the bottom. But again, I think there was a lot of Edens. Degrade was turned on pretty early on, and I can't find a Black War Greymon to save my life. The only Mega I find is War Greymon and Gaiamon. Which isn't the worst card into security control, in all fairness.
No. By the time I play the War Greymon, my option was play the Gaiamon, give him a load of memory, kill a dude, or go for the damage with a relatively safely with War Greymon. I go with the War Greymon for the damage, and then next turn it just gets removed. And as soon as that stat goes, it's kind of over. But then I think I hit like 2 Holy Waves in security, and it just doesn't.
It was 2 Holy Waves, and I think it was the third thing, because I think you had the tie on the field. It was like 2 Holy Waves, and then like a Magna Angemon, and you can see they're like, oh, that security was terrible. It's like, no, that security was fantastic. It's just the fact you had the perfect out for it. Yeah,
and I think he like there's like a Salah swing, dies, recovers, and then like Magna Angemon, and then the next turn the Magna Angemon swings and dies, and there's a Flame Hell Scythe, and I'm just
it's just over and over again. It's like, god damn.
You know when it's like, oh, I'm now behind, and then the next turn the same thing happens, and suddenly you go, oh, I'm too far behind now.
It's like, wait a minute, you were at 2 security a minute ago. How you got to 6 again?
Yeah, and then like I think Blitz Omni was in security, so it just.
Yeah, he was your last check. I think it's like, where have you been hiding? What are you in here for again?
Yeah, and then
every game too.
It gets to a point where I'm at like no life. He's got 2 things on the board and like 5 life, so it just nothing I can do there. Game 3 is where a few things happen that are really important. So for those players out there who have never played poker,
good analogy to be honest.
Yeah, I want to explain what tells are, because they were very, very important in determining the outcome of this match. A tell is an involuntary action, either physically or verbally, that gives away information to your opponent that if they can read that tell, pick up on that tell will influence the decisions they make in the game. So, for example, the poker analogy is, I'm playing Texas Hold'em and I've got, my hole cards, my hand is double ace. It's like, the best hand in the game. And you might let out like a huh, or the way you bet, like if sometimes people throw their chips in differently when they've got a good hand or stuff like that. Those sort of things that happen where your opponent is giving you information if you can pick up on it. And a few things happen in game 3 that tell me he doesn't have Chaos Degrade in hand. You can hear it on the footage. At the start of the third game, I choose to play second, and before I've looked at my hand, Lichink has looked at his hand and lets out a verbal eh. And that is a tell that I pick to read as it's an okay hand, but could be better.
Yeah, there's not 7 Chaos Degrades in his hand. I think we'll do our best.
No. My hand's pretty good. I think I've got like 2 rookies, 2 Metal Greymons and a Greymon X, so I've got like a line to play. He hatches, takes a card from his hand and moves it towards his raising area, and then reconsiders and plays the same card into the battle area. It's a purple Salamon. So that is a physical tell that tells me A, he doesn't have any other rookies in hand, and B, he is looking for something. The only card really that you're desperate to find with a purple Salamon is a Chaos Degrade. So that kind of confirms...
There's only 2 cards in his deck that you can find anyway, which is... No, sorry, there's 3. It's the My Crackmon Vicious Mode, which... Yeah, okay, whatever. It's the beautiful Chaos Degrade, which just degrades everyone. Yeah. Or it's Halflime Scythe, which is a great card anyway, but it's not the card you want.
But Chaos Degrade is the most important card that you need to see in the Gaiamon matchup. So a combination of those tells, I have read that he does not have a Chaos Degrade in hand. This means that later in the game, I use that information to determine whether or not I should play my first Congo or do something else. So the game continues, and we both do some things. I find both my Congos and I find at least one Congo before the other interesting thing happens. So there's Lichink swings with the purple Salah, gives me a Cool Boy, and I whiff, but I put a Black War Greymon to the bottom. This is now is where I give a tell, because I verbalize, well, and that tells him that I don't have a Black War Greymon in my hand, and probably not a Gaiamon either, which means that, and I realise I've given this information away automatically, and I kick myself for it. But in hindsight, if I don't give away that tell, I don't think he plays the Death X that comes a few later on, shortly after, I should say, because I think I have like a champion and a rookie, and nothing else scary because I haven't got anything yet. And he makes the right read, like, given the information, I don't have a Black War Greymon or Gaiamon in hand at that point, so the Death X is the right play based on the information that he's read. And he sets me to 9 and wipes my board. And I don't think he makes that play if I don't give away that information. So again, a game of tells and reads, really, really important. But he does give me 9, and I'm able to evolve up a few times. I've got like the Cool Boy trigger. think I go to 10 with the cool boy, and I draw the Gaiamon that turn. And here's where I have the choice to play the Congo. And given that I have to, I'm swinging over the Death X this turn anyway, so I'm not swinging into security. So I choose to evolve into the Gaio, draw the second Congo anyway, and then because I've made the read that he doesn't have Chaos Degrade, I choke with a Cool Boy, I think, and keep the Chaos Degrades for the following 2 turns, which, because they're timed correctly, means he just can't recover enough whilst I'm doing 2 to 3 damage, just like turning things sideways. And so because I don't play it, say, on that first opportunity, because I've made the read, and I play it on the following turn and then the following turn, I get to do enough damage to put me in lethal range, even like after he's actually been able to remove the stack, which he does do. But I've put him into a point where he has to remove the stack, recover, and possibly kill my other Digimon, and he can't do it all. And so the back-to-back Congos, even though the first one blinks my turn away because of Mimi, he can't recover the next turn and he can't degrade. So I play the Congo again the next turn and swing sideways, and you can see that just pushes me further ahead to win that game. And it was a really, really fun final, really enjoyable last game, and some good plays got me there. And and suddenly, before I even process what's happened, the game is over. We've fist bumped, and I did it.
The janitor's there, cleaned down the room. You've been there for 4 hours. You don't know what's going on still. It's like, what? Tables have gone. What's going on?
It took me a while to process that I'd won. It was really cool. Really, really awesome time. I would have been happy top 16 in, and just being happy to have played in person again, and at a good event with good people, and traveling around the country with your friends to other cities,
doing something you enjoy as well.
Sometimes traveling internationally, that's the best part about playing card games. The fact that the fact that it was my day in the end, that was a nice bonus, and I certainly won't complain.
For those of you who just think like winning is the only thing you want to do, top 16, top 32, top 64, like top 64 was really good. Top 32, fantastic. Top 16, you can show people that you are a good player. You don't have to be number 1 to be good at the game.
No, I would take. I mean, it's nice to win events, but I think consistency in your finishes is more important than, you need to account for the fact that if you're top 16ing events and top 8ing events, that is really good, and you have to get a little bit lucky to go all the way. Like skill and your deck choice and your matchups all play a part, but it's still a card game. There's still variance involved. You got to have a little bit of luck on your side to go all the way. If you can just consistently get those top 16, top 8s, top 4s finishes, at some point there will be a time when you make a final table, and then you just play for all the biscuits.
And then you take them all home and you get to nibble on them and you get to go, these people don't know that I am a Digimon champion.
Yeah, it was really good fun, and everyone was super chill. Just want to say a big shout out to everyone I played, everyone I spoke to on the day, everyone that came up afterwards and congratulated me. It was very, it was lovely to meet you all. And a big shout out to everyone that I've grinded against in the run up to events, and my local players who have helped me out. everyone, who gave me some insight and information and advice. It's such a nice community. I'm really, really thankful we've got a good bunch of people.
And that's very true. The Digimon community has been very chill. Most people, when you go to tournaments, are just nice and friendly. They just want to talk to you. No one's trying to be sneaky. They just want to know, like, you obviously enjoy the game. They enjoy the game. Let's have a chat.
Yeah, and of course, a big shout out to the judge team and the staff team, without whom we would not have had an event. So thanks very much for all of your hard work.
Or would have had a Wild West style event and no one knew what was going on.
No, any interactions I had with the judges were all awesome, and the staff team as well. And as an added bonus, definitely didn't catch COVID at the weekend. So
that's the biggest one here. It's not winning; it's not dying.
It's not catching the COVID. So yes, I know that I think a few people went down with it at that event over the weekend. So if you haven't tested yet and you're feeling a bit rough, get yourself an LFT. Make sure you're not infected.
A non-fungible token. We mean the the application.
Yeah, lateral flow tests. So good time all round.
So I think it comes to that time of the interview where it's BT10 time. As we're recording this, tomorrow will be the first day of pre-release. But as of now, I believe it's probably going to be yesterday.
Yes, so we're recording this on the Friday evening. Saturday and Sunday are the pre-release days. Bristol is on the Sunday, so if you hear this in time and you can make it down to Bristol, come and join us and have some good times cracking some packs and playing some sealed Digimon. And if you can take down Amando, who has won every pre-release so far, all power to you. He has been very consistent in just going undefeated at every one of our pre-releases. Very, very good sealed player. And then, and if you can't make it with us, then enjoy your own sealed events. Grab your pre-release packs, sell them for stupid money, and crack open. I hope that you crack open what you're looking for. I will just be looking for red alts. As a red loyalist, I at least get to play some more Gaiamon. I'm going to build Jesmon, I think. Many people are going to be on it. What we can do to counter that strategy effectively without also giving up either consistency or win rate percentages to other matches. I think I might try a Death X in Gaiamon. Maybe take out the X antibody and play one of Blitz, one of Death X.
You did pull one at your winnings.
Yeah, I did. I pulled one out of my box. That was quite nice. I might give that a go. It sounds like it'll be okay. In practice, it might be awful, but I'll give it a go. I haven't tested any BT10 yet. I don't play Tabletop Simulator.
No, or a proxy raw kind of guy. I feel like you're kind of I want the cards in hand first, then play them out.
Yeah, it's that whole thing of I don't play the game nearly as well if I'm not interacting with at least real cards on my end. It's very much that physical, see it in front of me, so I can easily process the information in a 3D space rather than read it on a screen. So I don't enjoy playing GTS. So I don't test in advance. I just do the grind a lot. You'll see me ask for a lot of. I'll be asking for webcam games a lot on the UK and NI server. I'm always asking.
I still need to ask Sophie if I can put a link in the bottom here, but I'll ask her and see what she says. I'm sure more people want to come and play against the champ.
They're more than welcome to come and join us over there. It's a good bunch of people. And yeah, I will be starting again from the bottom with my testing and then just, seeing how far it can get me. It was nice to see that a few people had reached the same conclusions, relatively speaking, as I did. I know Gordo, his list was, if not identical, basically identical.
Did he play on the Saturday?
I don't think so. I don't think he. I don't
So I
think
don't
he
remember
would
him
go.
saying he was going down. So, but yeah, I
Yeah,
think a lot of people have found very similar. I played that deck kind of originally, but I played it more harder reds. So I think it was like 2 of the blockers, and then after I didn't like that, I went to the 4 blockers. I was like, yeah, this works nicely.
yeah, you got
But
to
I
see
was
that.
trying it with the I was trying originally with the BT8 Agus, just for like more search. That never seemed to help.
I did test the deck last night at locals, including Joshua's text. Joshua was playing 2 copies of win rate 60%, and I really wish I'd thought of that card before I went and played the event, because he's not wrong when he says it was his MVP for the weekend. The plays that card opens up are ridiculous.
Oh yeah, for 2 and a colour, it's essentially like, here's my 2 cost level 5. Here's my 2 cost mega.
You can absolutely just like before
it saves you a turn basically.
Yeah, it just turbos you up, and you can put yourself in a dominant position a lot earlier than your opponent is expecting. And yeah, really good card. But now I've got to basically start again once I get my BT10 cards. I don't know if there's many changes. I say I'll have a look.
I don't think there is like anything better for the deck from the set, as far as I'm aware. But obviously, as you said, like you might look at taking something out, trying to get a Defx in there. I think Defx as a one-of is quite the tech choice for BT10, as I know a lot of the Exros decks just want to run one anyway, just in case they get an opponent who's got a big board and go, no, Digivolve, now die.
Yeah, the Digivolve is going to be quite relevant. But again, I'll start compiling my data once I start playing. I write down far too many things in testing. Like I don't think it's necessarily needed, but I certainly get a lot from just being like, oh, my testing was this matchup, I won or lost, 2-1, 1-2, 0-2, 2-0, whatever it was. And then I can document, what cards were important, what cards were less important, and what plays were really integral in just winning games and or losing games. And I just write that down and keep compiling data until I've got enough. And I try and just then absorb all of that information and keep it in my brain and see if that works. So I'm looking forward to starting that up again with the new meta.
Now, really, we've got a new loop deck, we've got the Lego deck, we've got the blue flare, we've kind of got the purple Bagra Brigade deck. I think black really got anything new. Oh no, we got the Dark Knight stuff.
So long as Crossheart isn't ridiculously dominant and wins everything, I think the meta's quite healthy.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been looking at EX3, for instance, it basically went more like Balloon Lord was doing well, then Gallopmon was doing well, then Crossheart did well, and then occasionally you see like a Jesmon will pop up, or I think the Minerva loop popped up once or twice. So, the different decks are winning. It's not essentially all you got to play this one deck or you're just not going to play the game.
Yeah, I think everyone's worried about the tier 0 format, but I think that's determined by how non-Crossheart players react to if Crossheart is dominant or not. So yeah, let's not to count my chickens too much. So
no, I mean, as you've said yourself, you're in a good position. You're playing a good deck that is not necessarily the best counter to it, but it's still a good counter to it, especially with the new what is it now? What's his face? Megadramon. Maybe put him in instead of having the Digivolve.
Yeah.
Pop in all the back row. Get rid of those stinky tamers.
Yeah, I think I might.
It's a war.
I might play at least one Megadramon and just cut the Altaurus mode and see how that goes for me. But yeah,
There'll be a matchup where it's get rid of that tamer that has all those beautiful Digimon underneath it, and it just goes bye bye.
Yeah, I can't wait. But I think that'll do. I think, yeah, I'll just have to wait and see. I think that covers BT10.
It does. Shout outs, I think, is the last thing I wanted to do for this.
Yeah, so I gave a few shout outs earlier on, but again, just honestly, the Bristol player base, all good folks.
Bristol massive.
If you're in Bristol, come down to Excelsior games. We play Thursday evenings, and our pre-releases / store championships are on a Sunday. We have got our pre-release this Sunday, so Sunday the 9th, and then our store championship is on Sunday the 23rd. So if you're near the area, come on down. It'll be good to see you. Always like more people. And yeah, that'll. I mean, it's doing really well. The game's doing okay in Bristol, but yeah, more the merrier. And then again, a big shout out to all my opponents over the weekend, everyone that helped me out, the judge team, the staff team, and yeah, that's kind of my shout outs done.
So you heard it from here first, guys. Jow wants a challenge. Come down. Show the champ who's boss.
Don't worry, I'll do the job in sealed. Good grief. I will be jobbing out in sealed. Oof. But
so I'm not too bad in sealed. Last one I won BT9 sealed because Galmon is a beast.
It's pretty good card to open that in sealed. Yeah.
Let me just swing with this one card. Take 2 security. Just that's it. You're now dead there, just staring at me. Don't worry about it. Not much you can do. BT8, I didn't win a single game. It was that bad. I didn't pull anything really worthwhile. It was really bad. BT7, I think a lot of people had issues because obviously it's a tamer focused set, and if you didn't pull the tamers, you didn't do anything. I can't remember what to do now.
Those pre-releases were a long time ago.
I think I can't remember.
I did win one actually. I think I did. I won the BT6 one because my pulls were like Jesmon Alt, Gabu Bond, and something else really dumb. I 3-0'd that one.
Let me swing down. Don't worry.
It's not anything to do with skill there. That was just bombs. I got my pulse one. Woot.
That's what it was all about.
Yeah, but yes, if you're near us, come and see us.
I think that's about it then. Thank you for being here, Jow. I do appreciate your time a second time. Please, for the love of God, be the only time I need you here this week.
Don't jinx it, man.
As I think if I say it another time, I don't think we'll be talking ever again.
No, thanks for
down on the 22nd to the Griffin Gaming event.
Griffin Gaming on the 22nd.
Yes.
I think
the big teams event.
I don't think so because I think Cardiff Store Championship is on the 22nd, so I might be heading up there.
Oh.
Yeah.
Going to a foreign land.
Yeah.
That's literally across the. You can look out the window and go, all right, I see Wales right there.
Yeah, I have options. I think Cardiff is on the 22nd, and that's close to Bristol-ish. Or I could head down to Southampton and play in theirs, which is where I used to live, so I've got friends there. So, yeah, definitely got stuff to do that Saturday, unfortunately. But I will get up to Griffin's Gaming at some point.
Should come down. Hopefully I'll be there at some point in the future. For those who don't know, the UK is currently dealing with rail strikes, which has made it a bit...
Yes, the rail strikes do make travel a little bit awkward.
One of the reasons I didn't come down last weekend is because obviously I didn't want to get stuck in London. And then I'm just kind of stuck where I am this weekend because, because I can't really get to Griffin's Gaming, and again, if I can get there, I don't get stuck, not be able to get back from Birmingham. But luckily for me, the local toy shop has now somewhat decided to become a local card shop as well, and on Saturday I'll be doing a host and greet for the Digimon card game.
Oh, awesome. Get some new blood. Excellent.
I'm hoping so, but we shall see. In a small town like ours, you can only hope for the new blood because the old blood's going pretty quick. We do live in a very 70-plus town.
All right, well, best of luck to you. And yeah, I look forward to doing this again at some point. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And so, yeah, if you want to come back and just chat for whatever reason, you're more than welcome to. You don't have to win anything. You can just come back whenever you need to.
I'll remember that.
But hopefully we'll be talking more about how you win. Maybe an Ultimate Cup soon, as I think we've got our next one in November.
Yeah, I think it's November, yeah.
And I think Raid and Trade, probably the best people we've had to deal with online. We've got their one at the end of October, so hopefully you'll show up a few more times.
Yeah. We'll see what the future holds.
For all you lovely people who've been sticking with us for nearly an hour and a half, thank you very much. We do appreciate it here. And I hate to do it because I have to do it because I'm a YouTuber and I always do it at the end of the video, so you don't have to listen to me do it. If you're not please subscribe, leave a like, comment. I read everything, I write back. Doesn't always make sense, but I do it. And hopefully we'll see you guys soon for another episode of me talking to a person who's much better at the card game than I am.